Hello and welcome everybody to the My Spectrum Life podcast. My name is Jessica. I am an autism mom. Man, boy, I'm getting the floors tonight. My tongue's getting twisted. With me is my co-host Kelsey. How are you doing, Kelsey?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I know I have better weather than you do at the moment.
Correct.
Being out there in with the hurricane bearing down on y'all, I am so very glad you guys have power. And with us tonight is our friend Shelby. How are you doing, Shelby?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you tonight. Well, if you had, let's see, we're open to suggestions, always open to suggestions from our viewers, correct, Kelsey?
We are. Oh. And actually, what?
I was going to say, before we get into that, we should probably talk about our term of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Whoops.
So our term of the night is called invisible disability. Invisible disability just means there's no physical attribute. So like if you look at a child with Down syndrome, you know that their eyes are wide apart and you can tell that they have Down syndrome. But invisible disability be the ones such as depression, anxiety, fibromyalgia, the ones that you can't see. And autism actually falls underneath the invisible disability if you don't have a comorbid diagnosis.
Right.
But it is known. So autism. So you're going to hear us talk about through that because it actually comes about in photography, because we're going to end up talking about photography tonight. I just want to let you guys know.
So in invisible disabilities, yes. I have fibromyalgia, and I know a lot of times it's a struggle because people look at me and they think, oh, you're being lazy. There's nothing wrong with you. And it's like, if you only felt the pain coursing through my body right now.
Yeah.
And that's what autism does too to the kids, because, that's something I know that so many of us as autism parents have heard. Well, they don't look like they have anything wrong with them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, and it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. So,
right.
But so I'll let you go ahead and get into. You get to ask most of the questions tonight, Kelsey.
I know, it's kind of different. Change of pace tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So this suggestion actually came from one of a topic viewer who reached out to me, but I say us, and just said, can you do one to get the right photographer? And I said yes, because I actually know a good friend of mine, Shelby, and you really came to mind, Shelby. I do know that you are a really good photographer. You actually took our wedding photos and our engagement photos and did a phenomenal job. So
that's with Kelsey and her husband.
Correct. Sorry, let's make that clear. Yes.
Remember, he was on a few weeks ago.
Well, joke of the night. Here we go. So we're actually going to be diving into your world tonight, Shelb, with photography, and just kind of learn how a photographer thinks and how we can spread it out to the community with autism. So again, I'm so excited to have you here. So how long have you been a photographer?
Oh, well, I started dabbling in photography all the way back in high school. It's been a while now. And then I actually got into some environmental photography when I was doing my master's. And finally, one of my friends said, hey, you should photograph my engagement session. And that's where it all started. So that was about 3 years ago. So I've been professionally shooting families and weddings for about 3 years now.
That's awesome. So what do you have your own business, or are you solo? Like, how's that for you?
Yeah. My business is Shelby Aaron Photography, and I'm pretty much based in Charleston, South Carolina. I do travel. I do some work in Myrtle Beach as well. So yeah, Shelby Aaron Photography, weddings and families, pretty much all I do. So
So families as in like big families, or do you do some mommy and me sessions?
Oh yeah, I always do. I have lots of mommy and me sessions. It's, some of my
Oh, nice.
favorites. Yep, some of my favorites. I do a lot. I do Christmas mini sessions every single year. Usually I'll do them out at the Christmas tree farm here. That's usually a favorite amongst my clients. And then
Nice.
I usually try to do just like holiday themed sessions because they're fun. And, you know, most of the time parents, that's what they want. And then I do full family sessions at the beach, at the park. Hampton Park, downtown Charleston is a location I shoot at a lot, actually.
Wow.
And yeah, so I do
That's
pretty
fun.
much all families. Yeah.
Jess and I almost dressed up in like a little Santa hat and like dressed out in
Almost.
Christmas. Almost did it just so we could say Christmas in July or August.
Yeah, well,
But
Oh yeah,
There's-
they do have Christmas in July.
Yeah.
They do that. So
well, the reason I thought of that is because my family, Derek and I, with our four kids, have never, ever done a Christmas card with our picture on it because it just wouldn't work. I mean,
right.
trying to, and this year would be even worse because I've got one of my sons is in the military and the other one is with his mother in Texas. So it'd be like a central family picture and then two side caveats or something. And it just, but Curtis is so, he'll either not smile and have absolutely no expression and be just, Mom, get that camera out of my face,
right.
kind of a thing, or he will be a ham.
Yeah, I've tend to notice that, you know, children in general kind of go either way, you know. I always tell my clients before a family session, I'm no stranger to a meltdown. So if that happens, we're just really patient. And we try to do our best. And I've even had cases where I've rescheduled, no extra cost. It's not the parent's fault that, you know, a
You're
kid
just
melts
about to
down.
make me cry right on here. The show.
That's amazing to hear as an autism parent that is something that you've done because the last time I went to a studio, Curtis was 18 months old. No, actually it was before then. I think maybe he was just 1 year because at 18 months or close to then I would have been very pregnant. So I couldn't have chased him around.
Right.
I was pregnant with my daughter. So yeah, that's the last time I was in a studio.
Yeah, and I mean, I in particular had a session where the parent came up front and said, you know, my child has autism, so it might be a little bit of a handful. And I said, no problem. You know, I always schedule a little bit extra time whenever they mention stuff like that because you never know what's going to happen. And this particular child didn't. You know, the first couple of shots we got him to smile a little bit. But after that, he kind of just wanted to do his own thing. He was very happy. You know, he wasn't, you know, he didn't have a lot of negative emotions unless we told him what to do. So we just let him do his thing and we got great pictures from it. So, and that's honestly with any child, you know, it wasn't any different from any other session I've had where a child just kind of wants to do his own thing, you know?
Yeah.
So you just went with it.
Yeah, you kind of have to. And one of the things that I'm really good at actually for family photography is I really hone into children's personalities because that's just what that's like what I'm drawn to. And it always comes out with the best pictures. So.
Oh, wow.
Capturing those right emotions.
Yeah. So it's just what makes them them. So even whether they have autism or not. So.
Right. With your experience with the one that you did with the autism, how did you get the child to focus on you at least once or a couple times? I know you just kind of went with it, but there are times where you had to get the child to focus on you. Did you rely more on the mom or did you help the mom direct or how did you handle that dynamics?
Well, you know, in that particular situation, I could tell that the mom was not comfortable because she didn't know me, right? And she didn't want it was clear that she didn't want anyone judging her child, you know,
Right.
and that's totally understandable.
Mhm.
I'm obviously not a judgmental person. And so I was very relaxed. And so I didn't necessarily go with go with her lead because, children with autism are going to do things, right? And
Right.
obviously there's some behaviors where you have to be like, no, you can't do
Right.
that. But if
Mhm.
they're just trying to jump around, twirl around, do whatever they want, then I just let mom know, hey, just let them be. And then, like I
Mhm.
said, I just go with it. And like I said, the first couple of pictures, I did rely on mom because I didn't
Mhm.
know them. I was
I
just
gotcha.
trying to feel them out. And so I did get a couple of shots with him smiling, but honestly, the whole time he just, he was smiling, just not for the camera.
Those are the
So,
best, though. Those are the
Yeah.
raw emotions and not
yeah.
the picture perfect. It actually captures, as you said, who they are. And
Mhm.
for those who are listening and watching this, we actually got a sneak preview of those pictures, those experiences, but we don't have permission from the parent to broadcast them. But we did get to see them. And if you guys actually do want to see some of those, I think that they on your website though.
Yes, they
Yes,
are.
so some of them on
Yeah.
her website. So you can check out those raw emotions, what she's talking about, how,
Mhm.
and she was telling us background story and how he was really interested in the water and he was interested in water and she snapped one just right when he was like super happy and looked up and you can just tell that he's like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love this water. Like, this is awesome. And just captured everything in who this person was.
Uh-huh.
So below is her actual website. If you guys want to check her out, book her. Just to let you know, just a little ad there for you. But
Yeah.
but
It's her website is shelbyerinphotography.com. So it's SHELBYERIN and then the word photography.com. For those of you who are listening and can't see the banner below.
sorry, forgot about that.
Yeah, and that one particular picture you're talking about with him, like I said, or like you said, he was really interested in the water. So I am really, I kind of just click away in those kind of
Mhm.
situations to just get what I can get, which is
Right.
usually a lot. But he had looked up at me in that particular moment. And so I got that shot. And that was definitely a picture that a family could put in their living area,
Mhm.
frame it and put it around their house as art, as curated art of their families.
Mhm.
And so that's really what I try to get for. And I tell my families, my family clients and wedding clients, the same thing, is that that's really what my business is structured around, is to try to get those pictures that you can decorate your home with, because of course you're going to want to decorate your home with your
Yes.
children and your
Yes.
family, so.
Yeah. And, that's one thing that we actually focused on this time is to get our pictures when we just moved here into Tennessee. And so we have some, pictures on the wall that are us a long time ago. And it's like, God, we really need to replace those. But
Yes.
I was just, here a few years back, my nephew got married. And we had this idea of what we want to do on this wall. So I contacted my niece and said, hey, do you happen to have this big family photo? Like, it doesn't matter. It was a huge family. If my kid's doing something crazy, no big deal, right? Well, she also sent a couple of pictures of, so Curtis went crazy. He loved that when he likes loud music. And for him, and it's not the same with every autistic child, that the vibrations that he can feel, he just went crazy. And I think the photographer was just clicking because they got a couple of shots of him and one of them in midair. He was just going nuts.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah, it is. It's cool to have something like that. I'm going to have to get them, I've just seen little thumbnails. I'm going to have to blow them up and put them somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, get some images, frame them, use them for Christmas cards.
Maybe once and for all. I might actually.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a miracle? For me, for my family, yes, that would be a miracle.
Big miracle. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, goodness. So if we're looking, as an autism parent, if we're looking for a photographer, what can we look like? What kind of keywords or things can we
Mm-hmm.
look at to make sure that they're going to be a photographer who's not going to be, you know,
Rigid.
you don't necessarily, not a lot of people are going to put, yeah, I photograph special needs kids or anything like that. What kind of a
Right.
thing can we look at to help us find
Right.
somebody that's going to be able to work with us, work with our schedule? And, you know, it's hard from a web page.
Right. Yeah. The first thing I always tell anyone, regardless of if they have a child with special needs or not, is
Mhm.
find a photographer whose style you really like, first of
Mhm.
all, because that's the number one rule. So, you usually have a handful of photographers and you say, okay,
Right.
well, I like these 5 photographers' style. Then what I would say is reach out to them, because more than likely you're not going to get anything from their website about them, even if they do have an About Me section. So
Right.
reach out, and what to look for really, and especially for those who have children with autism, is make sure that the photographer is asking questions about you and your children, right?
Okay.
Make sure that they, are asking all the right questions, which really is just, okay, well, will I need more time? What are some of the things I can look out for to be prepared? Just like tips from mom or dad, right?
Right.
And then also look out for those photographers who talk about themselves and how they work with clients. So for me, if someone directly tells me about their child, then I can say, okay, hey, like I said, told all my clients, I'm no stranger to a meltdown. I'm very patient. I will try my hardest to work with, like I said before, the clients for as long as we possibly can until we can't take it anymore. And if we didn't get any good shots, then we will reschedule at a later date. And usually that I've never had more than a second session. So,
Wow.
yeah, so usually it works out pretty well.
That's great.
But I would say those are some of the things. Really, just make sure your photographer is asking questions about, you and what you want, and make sure that they can make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. So,
Right.
Do you
Okay.
recommend outside or studio?
I honestly recommend outside. Reason being is that a studio can feel very constricted. Typically with studio portraits, they are very posed, right? So you have the family posing together, smiling directly at the camera, very traditional, which I personally love studio portraits as well. But first, especially in my experience with children with autism, outside's better because you can let them kind of do their thing and not have to worry about it. So,
Right.
Have you ever had anybody ask you about being photographed with their with Chewy? He's my service dog. There we go. My son
with a service dog?
Yes.
I haven't, but I have experienced shooting sessions with the puppers, so I wouldn't have any problem with it.
Because I know that might be that's going to be one of the key things. Like for my son, because he has a service dog, he would love great pictures with Chewy. Yes, it's short for Chewbacca. We're
Chewbacca.
huge Star Wars. Yes, huge Star Wars fans.
Yeah, those would make great pictures too.
Yeah.
I put that in his bedroom every time he looks at it. It makes him smile.
Yeah.
So, that would be
She's
cute.
never even met Curtis and totally understands him already.
I know.
I love it. I love it.
He's such a and that would be, I know it's probably every autism parent's dream is to have somebody capture those moments of emotion, because emoting emotion for them can be so incredibly difficult. Just and the fact that it's hard for the communication and understanding communication. That's always a difficulty for them.
Yeah, that one we were talking about before the session where he was really drawn to the water. He actually he wasn't very, I guess and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not very familiar with a lot of the terms, but he wasn't very verbal, although he did, make sounds and stuff like that. But he didn't necessarily use like complete sentences and things like that. But I mean, you could tell what he was saying because he had a really big personality. So he wasn't necessarily not, you know, he had lots of emotion. So yeah,
that's great.
So that makes it easier too. Makes it easier, but you know,
have you ever had to reschedule because the parent was uncomfortable because the parent couldn't relax? Or have you ever thought about having to reschedule with them? Maybe get to know them a little bit better, or
only time I can say that's ever happened is with a newborn session. But never with not I mean, you could tell, like I said before, like I try, you know, you pay a lot of money for these pictures. So I try my hardest to get those pictures in the amount of time that we scheduled for the appointment. And so sometimes you can see parents get really frustrated, and I try to push it a little bit, but then I'll call it if you know, because it is about having a good experience, not a negative one. So
So like yes. I texted my son the other day, my oldest, no, my middle one. He's a senior this year. I said, hey, are you going to have senior pictures taken? He said, I don't like picture days, so probably not. I'm like, okay.
You gotta
now he's
ones.
Neurotypical.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he's just being a teenager.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to teach Curtis, because my Curtis and Nikki do a they do the channel. I'm sorry, I'm looking over at my husband. They called the Nano Kids on YouTube, and we had to teach Curtis to look at cat lovers. Don't be angry. To look at the dead cat. Which you know what a dead cat is, right, Shelby?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the it's the microphone cover, that really fluffy thing that goes over mics that you see on just about anywhere that you have any wind noise, or you could have wind noise, to cut that out. And we always have to like point at the, tell them, look at the dead cat. And, that's where Derek does his hand signals to get them ready to, speak, look at the dead cat and everything. So yeah, it's interesting to try to get them to figure out where to look. So that's why I've been, haven't really thought about studio.
I've always one of the questions I always in my head, I guess, when I'm thinking about my business, is, what are some tips that if I do come across, just if I do have more frequent families with children with autism, what are some tips that maybe you guys could give me that I could use in a session?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any? For like someone, I mean, for, just so that I can, what is the word? Respond correctly,
Mm-hmm. Make sure you have your running shoes on.
Yeah, I have definitely figured that one out.
Having a fidget box.
Yes.
Because sometimes they don't bring fidgets because like, let's say you have a Christmas one and they're like, I don't want to bring the fidget toy because they don't have a Christmas thing fidget in their hands. Maybe just having like something like that they could play with or fidget whenever they're looking down, or because the one that you were talking about naturally did it with the water and the grass that he was sitting in. He naturally did it. But there's some those who do, if they do want their traditional one, but are kind of having some trouble, maybe bringing in some of those props that they could fidget with.
And just like some kind of stimulus of some sort, or
I know that like for my sister's wedding, to get my son to actually walk down the aisle and do what he needed to, he had a little green Beanie Baby. Thankfully, my sister had sunflowers as the major flower, so there was green.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
And it was a pirate Beanie Baby. His name is Captain Teddy. He's a little worse for wear now, but he had him. My mom kind of took some of the ribbon, tied him to the ring bearer's pillow, so that when he was holding it, he had it right next to his body as he was walking down. And then, of course, instead of having them stand up, because the kids, my daughter and my brother-in-law's niece were the flower girls and everything, they wouldn't be able to stand up there, and neither would Curtis. So Curtis went and sat with my mom, and Stitch was there too. So having that little thing that, made him feel comfortable.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's something I could tell my clients before the session, say, hey, you might want to think about bringing, something like that to the session just in case we need it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good.
I'll tell you, inevitably, if you're running out the door when you're trying to get to something like this, there will be some sort of craziness at the house before you leave. And so you might accidentally leave those fidget toys when you really didn't mean to.
Yep. Yeah. And so it's a good tip. So I'll just remember to have something in my backpack. Maybe I'll think of some holiday themed stuff too that I can bring. So, parents feel more comfortable with that in their pictures.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially if it is that, this has been amazing. Hey, can you think of anything else, Kelsey?
If a child shows interest in autism, if a child with autism shows interest, I know, I was like, that's messed up. Sorry, guys, did not mean that. Tongue twisted. But if a child with autism shows interest in your camera or in taking pictures, what do you recommend for those parents to maybe pursue that interest, because it could be an outlet for that child?
Yeah, I would definitely utilize the electronics that they have on hand already, like a phone or an iPad or something like that, because there's tons of apps that you can download to where you can actually learn professional photography, if, they are willing to do that. And then if they are, show that they have a really great time doing it, they're really interested in it and are doing a really good job at it, then I would definitely upgrade and invest in a good camera for them. So
very cool.
That's cool.
Terry has a recommendation for you to throw in your backpack. Pipe cleaners and textured fabrics can also work well for some.
That was good to know.
I had to actually throw away all of my pipe cleaners before. I couldn't get them packed because they were in a twisted jumble mess. I think between Curtis and Nikki, they must have been having pipe cleaner little ball wars or something.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So those went in the trash. I'm gonna have to find some. My mom, I was making masks, and my mom kept saying, "Oh, put pipe cleaners in them." I'm like, it'd be great if I had some.
That is a good idea.
So, and then it's something that's inexpensive and they can twist it. They can get that, the sensory that they need, but it's also something that they can hide or something. And who knows what kind of cool art they could be making of shape with the pipe cleaner that you could catch. So,
right. Exactly. So
thank you,
you
Terry,
never know. They always have a bunch of talents up their sleeves, I've noticed. So
yes, they do. So true. So true. Okay. So, we are so thankful that you were on tonight.
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah, it was good to kind of ask you questions, but then have the tables turned on us.
I know, I was like, tables.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch you off guard. I've just always, I've always been curious about that. So,
hey, it's okay. We're pretty much ready for just about anything. You gotta be.
Yeah, I gotta be prepared.
Yes. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, if they're in the Charleston, South Carolina area, in the eastern side of the state there, what they can get a hold of you on your website, correct?
Yep. You can get my email and my phone number, and all my social media is located on my website there. Yep. And like I said, usually Facebook, email, call me, text me.
Okay. So you can find all that at shelbyerinphotography.com. That's SHELBYERIN and the word photography.com. If and we will do our best to put that in the show notes, as well as one of the things. Okay, so I'm going to have to look over here to our tech guy. Can I announce it? Okay, so he's like, we're looking to put together kind of a directory page or resources, a couple of different pages on our website. And one of the things we will do is put a link to your website on there. so that people, if they're looking for a photographer, can go there and check it out. And so we're going to try to, that's going to be another thing that we're going to do at My Spectrum Life, is to try to branch out and help our parents find people. If you, as a viewer, have found somebody that you highly recommend for something, drop us a line and we'll go and check everything out and go from there. So you can email us at info@myspectrumlife.com. And Kelsey, take it away for our other contact.
You can find us on Instagram.com backslash My Spectrum Life, Facebook.com backslash My Spectrum Life, and Twitter.com backslash My Spectrum Life with the number 1. Guys, I just did that by memory.
You did a good job.
That's awesome.
So if you're watching YouTube and you have not subscribed, please subscribe down below and hit that subscription button for us. So the more viewers you have, the more we could do for y'all. And as Jess said, please email us at info@myspectrumlife.com for any kind of topics or anything that you want us to talk about. We're very open to help you guys out.
Yep. And I don't know how many of you may or may not have caught. I actually did a live off of Instagram this week.
Yes, you did this week. That's right.
So be looking for us to do some more live type things off of Facebook, Instagram, and all that. So that just kind of felt the need to be raw and open about my horrible day, but encourage others. Because even in my horrible day, I was thinking, others out there have had bad days, but there is a positive side to this, and we can always look and have some hope.
Always.
So, all right. So I guess we always have to remember, with a lot of faith, a whole lot of love, and some fidget toys. And with those fidget toys and a good photographer, you might get some of those pictures to put on your wall. We can make it and have good experiences.
Yes.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for
Bye.
listening.